You know, I feel like everyone has or maybe had that one Thomas toy, am I right? It means something to you, or maybe it has a memory attached to it. I've been lucky enough to have a couple of these in my lifetime, but arguably none can really compare to what we're talking about today. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the Wooden Railway Thomas Comes to Breakfast limited edition item, something that, you know, I've had in my collection for a very, very long time, as I'm sure you can tell, but also one that means a very, very good bit to me. So when I went to my first day out with Thomas event, I was 3 years old. It was in 2004, and this was the toy or item I took home with me. It was a, you know, I can't say something I expected to be, you know, this limited edition thing that I try to take care of now, or that I kind of regret not taking better care of from back in the day, but still, it's something that I had from back then that means a lot to me. I can still remember my great-grandmother picking this up and handing it to me and just being so infatuated with it. You know, it was a Wooden Railway Thomas that was not only sad, but it was the one where he came to breakfast. He came with the little house that he smashed into. He looked distressed. It was just cool. It was something that in almost every way holds up to this day. And, you know, I figured why not talk about it since it's one of my favorite Thomas items to ever exist. So really quick, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about this thing. So again, what we're talking about today is the Wooden Railway limited edition Thomas Comes to Breakfast. A pack? Item? We'll just call it a panger of a set that included a Breakfast Thomas and a piece of detailed track that shows or depicts the station master house Thomas smacks into. So this set came out in 2003 and 2004, and a total of 50,000 units were produced in the US for collectors to grab. Now, another 5,000 would be made in Australia, the UK, Canada, New Zealand, and Germany, I believe, also had a run with this same item. But the German run only had 1,000 units, I believe. Now, that little factoid does come from the wiki, so I'm not 100% sure if it's accurate. I would love if someone could maybe fact check in the comments. But that aside, sadly, the box is not something I have anymore, or the collector card, hell, even the certificate of authenticity, or at least that I know of. Maybe one day I'll find it. But originally, it did come with all of the above. The character card reading Thomas is being a bit cheeky in showing off to Toby and Percy, but soon learns his lesson when he finds himself an unwanted guest at the station master's breakfast table. The box itself read, "A careless Thomas ends up with egg on his face in the famous Thomas Comes with Breakfast story. Relive all the fun with this limited edition Thomas engine." And another interesting bit of information with this thing is the differences between the final model and prototype, with not only a slightly different face, but buffer beam as well. And on that note, let's jump back to the model mat. Alright, so before we jump into Thomas, I think let's start with this track or display piece. This is a kind of interesting piece, as you can see here. It's got two female ends on either side, so if you want to implement this onto a track, it's a little bit difficult, but that's fine. It has a hanger here on the back, so you can put this on the wall, or it can just be a display thing. That's pretty much what it is for me. And again, it's very simple. It's a fatter piece of track, but that's because there's a magnet in here which keeps Thomas in place if you do put him on the wall. There's a very thin piece of wood here which shows you the station master's house after Thomas smacks into it. And I guess if you want to be really picky, it doesn't make the most sense since Thomas, you know, sits on the side. It's not like he's facing towards the actual impact area. But that being said, it still looks damn good. As you can see there, we've got little pictures of the station master up on the wall. We've got the table with all the stuff knocked over, the remnants of the window, a nice red roof, a little door here on the side. It's a pretty solid little piece. And how can I forget the Thomas Comes to Breakfast plaque here on the front, which, again, just like Thomas, is showing its age, but, you know, still, this is just a piece that I altogether am in love with. Let's see. The bottom here says Thomas Limited Edition. I got US number 10,743 out of 50,000 again. So that's pretty cool. And that's pretty much all there is to the piece. I've got a little bit of plastic still remaining there that I could pull up. But again, I don't really want to risk messing this thing up too more. Like, look at those corners. It's seen better days. And the same could be said for Thomas. And I guess let's talk about him now too. Even still, this is probably one of my favorite Wooden Railway Thomases to ever exist. I love the face and the little egg detail that he's got there on the side. You know, you're a real one if you remember this video, but that's the exact reason I put it on my custom capsule Thomas Comes to Breakfast. This is the toy that inspired that. And besides the eggs, Thomas also has a lot of other detail. We've got the window frame around the smoke box. We've got some little plants and other breakfast pieces there, just, you know, hanging on the side. Little scratches here on the side of the tanks and broken window pieces on the top. And on the bottom it says, Thomas comes to breakfast. It's pretty simple, let's be honest. There's really not a lot to it. It's just a sad Thomas that's went through a house. It's still awesome though. Now, sadly, again, this is one I played with, so as you can see there, it's got some sun fading, it's missing an eyebrow, some bumps and bruises. This Thomas and everything you see here has seen better days, but I'm kind of proud of that. All these bumps and scratches are from yours truly. I did this at some point when I was a kid, having fun with this thing, so I can't really complain too much. And besides that extra detail, this Thomas is pretty much standard. If you wanted to, say, display this with a normal wooden railway Thomas, it would still sit just fine right there. The magnetism is not in the engine, it's in the track piece. And speaking of a normal Thomas, let's put them side by side here. Can you see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with this one, but this just has so much life and creativity to it. And, you know, it has a story. Not just one in canon that reflects, you know, a limited edition piece, but it was from my first day out with Thomas. And, you know, it's got some personal memories too. Yet altogether, this is a set I really, really appreciate. And I really wish they still made things similar to this today. I mean, I don't even know if Wooden Railway is still a thing today, is it? And if I recall correctly, they didn't just make Thomas. They had one with a better view for Gordon and stuff like that. It's just so cool. And this, again, does reside on my wall currently. I do take it down every now and then, dust it off, just make sure everything's looking good on it. This is something that, to me, means a lot. And I'm curious, do you guys have something like that yourself? Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what that item is for you and what you think about the one we talked about today. Now, really quick, as always, huge shout out to my patrons for making videos and projects like this possible. If you want to see videos or projects like this early, be sure to check the link in the description. You know, I think the best way to end this video is with a moment of silence for the kids that will not be growing up with toys of this quality. I mean, it's more than a little bit unfortunate.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.